you very much, Zoe, and the rest of the desk, and hello to all of you lovely viewers. I am Achilles here alongside Avril, and we'll be guiding you through the final two matches of our first day of the playoffs. Everybody give a nice little congratulations to Avril on his first proper postseason series that he's going to be casting here with me. It's going to be good times. We'll go ahead and break the mold a little bit more here. We'll see what happens between these two squads. We have the Florida Mayhem going up against the Atlanta Reign. Already some unexpected results, we could say, I guess.
Look, first of all, thank you for that. And also, we're NA casters now, so we get inaugurated the NA cast here, Florida versus Atlanta. Hey, let's do it. I'm into it. I'm ready for it. Apparently, what was the stat again? It said there was like 20 brackets left. 20? Out of all the Pick'ems brackets, there's only 20 left, as said by Sean Miller, that are still perfect and eligible for that 100K prize if you get a completely perfect bracket, which at this point, I mean, let's count them down. Let's find out who those 20 people are, because they either just picked on based on their favorite color or they flipped some coins. I don't know, Seth, but what a crazy start already. Only 20 people left.
I think they consulted the Ouija boards and they were just communing with demons and whatnot to be able to get the results correctly. And if anybody can make it to the very end and win that 100K prize, then good God, they have more than one. I think that we should honestly double it at this point.
Yeah.
The results are so shocking. The Overwatch League Don't 3-0 game right now is set to insane mode because no one's been able to pass that. Maybe in this series of two teams that are ever so familiar with each other, perhaps we can actually have a series between the two of them rather than a 3-0 blowout, but we'll have to just wait and see what happens.
I mean, look, I think the disc said it as well. It's like you have Atlanta, who has been, generally speaking, a much better team over the course of the season. Florida have had their highs and lows. They come in as a play-ins team. There was a little bit of snippet as well. If you've been through Twitter, Gumba has an interview where he's basically saying, like, Florida have not had a lot of time to scrim on the current playoffs patch, right? They were on a different patch for play-ins, and so they had to prep differently. And alongside Toronto, it's been quite limiting for them. So they come in maybe slightly less prepared than the other playoffs teams who have been on this current Carico patch with this, the Zarya nerfs, etc. Florida definitely have a bit of an uphill battle ahead of them, but I think they're one of the teams that you really look at with, as a potential dark horse in this tournament because they had such a good showing in the plains.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and bring out the first team to this stage. It's going to be the Florida Mayhem making their way to their seats, getting ready to do battle. Let's see if they're going to be able to come out on top. You heard it there from the desk. It's hard to call who is really the underdog in this matchup. Reign coming in as a higher seed, but Florida have been looking absolutely impeccable as of late. So there's definitely no rest to be found for the side of the Reign. They need to be prepared for the Florida Mayhem.
And this is, based on what we've seen in the meta as well, Checkmate is, in the play-ins, was this fantastic Genji play. He's going to have to shift over towards that Reaper position now. So, maybe the hard cap on how much he can carry is potentially there. I mean, the main DPS we're going to be looking at is Hydron, who has taken over XC on that hitscan position, on that Sojin, and was a driving force for that success that we saw in the plains as well. I think someone's a very flexible player. He's going to be moving over towards the Winston. Probably, would I say it's a comfort for him? He's actually performed reasonably well in so many different tank picks now that, being one of the most flexible tanks in the league. Originally, I would have said, yeah, I mean, Winston probably is one of his top heroes, even across his hero pool. So that's probably a good thing for the Florida Mayhem overall.
Well, we're talking about hero pools, we're talking about Winston's. Let's see what's going to happen as we bring out the Atlanta Reign. There's a lot of questions around who is going to be playing this. Do we see the return of Gator? Is it just going to be Hawk, who is very much just locked down that position for himself? We will find out as they make their way out onto the stage.
Any Crocs? No, I'm seeing Hawk. Okay, I'm also seeing UV coming through as well. So, who's that next one? Might be OG. Speedly is in next to Kai. Okay, so no Venom. I was thinking we may have been looking forward to maybe a bit of Venom here as well. You can play that Reaper. Tracer is a potential pick for certain teams as well. But they're going to go with Speedly's hero pool, which actually opens up the Echo pick. That's something I'm going to be very interested in seeing. Like, is that going to be something that the Reign pull through? It's still mostly Reaper and Sojin as a DPS duo, but I don't think it's impossible to try some other heroes here as well. OG plus UV combo, it could have been OG with Vigilante as well, but the choice here has gone with UV for the Carico, so That will be really interesting. We do expect OG to be in here for Lucio, obviously, and the tank position, I think, was the other one that was a bit contentious, right? Are we going to see Gator? Is it going to be Hawk? Most teams, pretty much every single team actually is playing the Winston. How good is Hawk's Winston? Are they going to play Winston? Is it going to be something else instead?
Yeah, I mean, lots of questions still very much unanswered. I mean, we know who's going to be starting here, but if he comes out with a Winston, it seems like the Reign are going to have a lot of faith in Hawk's performances on that hero. We're just going to have to wait and see how it does look. Gator, in all likelihood, you would anticipate is going to be waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
It's just a question of whether or not we get to see him, because if Hawk comes out here and he is able to step to someone, really go toe-to-toe with him, then I see no reason, honestly, to make a swap, because you always have that added depth with Hawk in this role when he's playing, that if they need to swap for a certain point or to counter something that maybe Florida's bringing out that's a little bit unanticipated, he is going to be good for it.
I think this is one of those things where, like, if you're Florida, you're pretty happy with this matchup, generally speaking. You have someone who's good at Winston. That's one of his key heroes. Hawk is far less practiced on the Winston. Even looking at statistics, right? Hawk, despite having played... Here's the thing about Hawk and Gator. Hawk has played 91.6% of all of Atlanta Reign's games this year, over 10 times as much as Gator. So on one hand, you've got Gator's hero pool, but Hawk's played 90% of the game, so he's been your dude for pretty much the entire year. First map choice is going to come through for Lijiang Tower. And, you know, the thing at the back of my mind is, if you're Hawk right now, what are your options? Are we going to potentially see something like even an Orisa or Doom? Hawk's obviously played a lot of Doom this season. I think Control Center might open up for, dare I even call it cheese, like something like an Orisa coming through on there. That, or he's just going to one-trick through the Winston like everybody else. We know Florida probably is just going to one-trick through that Winston, though.
Well, we'll see what happens. It's going to be Lijiang Tower to kick things off in this series. As with the previous two, the loser will then select where they want to take us. We will have Hybrid, then Escort, Push, etc. lined up. Hopefully, we can make it this time around to a push map, not have a 3-0 blowout. That's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for here, ladies and gentlemen. My Preds are already boomed, so from here on out, I am just cheering for some damn good Overwatch League playoffs. So we'll go ahead and kick things off in this third series of the evening as we jump into Night Market.
There it is. Well, last meeting of these two teams in week 23, 3-2 victory for Atlanta Reign, but that wasn't the only time that Reign have beaten the Mayhem. They've had, like, what, 4 straight wins this entire year. They've beaten the Mayhem. Mayhem haven't taken down the Reign a single time in 2022. And now we're in the playoffs. We're in the business end of the entire season. What a time it would be for an upset there from the Florida Mayhem. We've already had a couple of those today, or at least one of them. Here we go, rolling through. Gates open for map number 1 in this series, and it is going to be the hard mirror on both sides. Questions answered. Hawk on that Winston, like you said.
All right, now it's all about putting it to practice. Let's see how it looks. First and foremost, though, OG going to get melted down. Hydra able to find him. That nade coming out, pushed around the corner. Quick little shot to the head. Hawk gets taken down. Florida Mayhem kicks things off with a bang. 2 kills, nearly a third found. Speedily does narrowly stay alive a little bit longer, but Hydran's able to claim him in the end, getting himself a second elimination. Florida Mayhem still playing forward. Someone down 19 HP does end up dying. The point's still not locked down. Now Atlanta Reign have a potential opportunity to get in here and contest it, but the initial lockdown will be there.
Someone really far forward there. Atlanta Reign pounce. They have the player advantage now, despite Florida Mayhem having the initial cap with Hydron down, who, by the way, was 3 out of 3 final blows for the team. Things are looking quite difficult here.
Not great here. Going to be a fast flip back into the favor of the Atlanta Reign. Bit of an overstay from someone. Cost them dearly. Shades of Shanghai Dragons there on Route 66, pushing forward. And then suddenly the cart gets taken from behind them. But here we go. Fast flip. Reign going to be poised to go ahead and take the lead here. Ultraviolet looks like the first ult to come online.
Very soon as well. After 1 neutral, she was just coming through almost straight away. Someone does nearly have a primal online, though. I don't think the time is going to work out. What a shot from Hydro. That removes the Katuna rush.
That it does. Takes him out of the fray. Kai has to circumnavigate back around the front. In fact, just really stay over there because the rest of the team does get cleaned up with him out of the action. Huge pick comes through. That's going to be Florida Mayhem just as quickly regaining control.
I mean, that is game change. That is a fight-turning shot coming through from Hydron. UV had a Katuna rush just before RuPaul did, and in this sort of meta, the tempo counts. The first person, the first player in the Kariko to get that ultimate to put it through makes a big difference. Here comes UV now.
The red wall goes checkmate. Trying to get well out of there, but he cannot. They all pursue forward. Find the elimination. He gets taken down. That's going to be the Death Blossom out of the equation for now, but Hydran again with another shot. Takes Kai out. Great headshot rail. Claims him. Overclock is popped. He's looking for a little bit more. So the skybox goes. Hawk comes dropping back down. Now has the primal rolling. Overclock going to be expiring, but no one really being taken low at all on the side of the floor. Mayhem now they have that shielding as well. As Hawk will get claimed. Push around the front, they're looking for some staggers. Getting ready to push up over 60% now. Immediately pulls the trigger, manages to find two. Someone taking down the Nanamo to the Death Blossom. Looking to trade this one back into their favor. Hydra now off in a bad spot, but still gets the headshot on Ultraviolet.
Yeah, still keeping the game alive, and another kill to Kai here as well. Atlanta Reign, they have the flip back in their control. Solo members though, Florida Mayhem have respawners, they have the angles to work through here. Reign backing out. Look, give that cap over, no, not quite.
It's only going to be a couple people from the side of the Reign keeping this contested for now. You can see the Rage Walkers inching back and forth onto the point to try to not surrender this split over. They know they need to take this one close, but in fact, it is going to be snatched up now that Blossom goes in. Off the side of the map goes Hawk, and Checkmate claims two. He's got the TP, just showing off a little bit here as the full team kill comes to fruition for the Florida Mayhem, now at 80%.
You see the speed in this game here as well, where neither team really wants to give up too much ground. Florida Mayhem might lose a couple members, they stay in. Someone uses Primal next fight. Atlanta Reign, they'll lose a few. They stay on the outskirts of the point, still trying to keep it alive. As we head to Final Fight territory now, RuPaul, probably the map winning, the round winning ultimate available. Both teams will actually have now. Kitsuna Rush should see this one overlap.
Immediately arrives, Kitsuna Rush on both sides. Hydra going to be taken down. Hawk gets on top of him, and that is a prime target. Now the beam going to be layered in as well. And Anamo nearly has one of his own, but losing two people. It's going to be best to just hold on to it and go for the next fight. Flip is there. Atlanta Reign get a second lease on life, but they're only at 50%.
Animo are 96%, unfortunately, 4% away from using the sound barrier to save his team. What you see here twice in a row, not quite in a row, but definitely twice so far in the round, is both UV and OG pop in that Kitsuna Rush, plus sound barrier as a combo, double support ultimates overlaid. The first time we saw, RuPaul didn't even get a chance to use his ultimate here. RuPaul does get a chance to use Kitsuna Rush. The extra sound barrier from OG is too much.
All right, there's the overclock. It's quite a bit of damage layered in. Sound barrier now dropped. Hawk, the first one to fall. Checkmate able to get on top of him. And with him gone, now Kai taken down as well. That will just be the flip back into their favor, as well as the closeout. Florida Mayhem, they take Night Market for themselves, 175%.
And I think Hawk goes down at the mid-90s there as well, so very close margins for a lot of these players in several fights where, you know, several percentage differences is everything. Hawk doesn't have Primal there. Florida Mayhem get to come back in. They're already at 99%. Animo held onto that extra sound barrier after not having it in a previous fight. They get to walk on through Hydron. You have to talk about this guy. Hard carry on the Soju right now. This is that Checkmate Death Blossom with the extra TP towards the end there as well. Suzu on top of him to make sure that he can't, you know, be killed inside of it. Then obviously he gets away with his life. So brilliant round of kills there coming through from Florida Mayhem. Stat-wise though, I don't even know if we're going to have time to get into it. 10 final blows of Hydron just so far. This is Hawk coming out of the Ryan with Speedly out of Bastion. So you want to see something that's not the Winston comp. You want to see something off meta. Well, we got one.
Yeah, okay, changing things up in a big way. Looking for some targets though. So far he's really struggling to find any bounties so far. Everyone's been piloting around him relatively well. Checkmate, however, does get left out into the open. Hawk is able to go ahead and swing the hammer away to get some kills. Bounces in the nade. Some extra damage, and for now it will be the Atlanta Reign grabbing the first point. You see Florida Mayhem pulling back.
If you want a way to shut down a Winston and really burn him through, Wheels mode on the Bastion is one way to do it. Someone goes over towards the Orisa now. So did say maybe we could see a bit of Orisa today. Thought that might come from the Atlanta Reign. It will come through from the Florida Mayhem instead. So it's going to be more of like, I guess, a brawl matchup now. Speedly is still a problem. Just play behind Hawk Shield.
Yep, there's the push forward. Spear is swinging, trying to mitigate some of that damage coming out from the Bastion. But so far, he's still going to be saved. Spear does connect onto Hawk. Beats ultimate at about half HP. And Florida Mayhem, in the meantime, they've actually gotten a flip here. They managed to get a bit of a back cap, just drawing all that attention toward the forefront, towards that Orisa. They take control. Now it's going to be the Atlanta Reign to flip this back to their favor. So it's good pressure
look at this
from the Florida Mayhem. Back into the turn form. Just looking to mow them down. Someone taking a beating, goes lower and lower, and eventually will get finished off. Sound barrier dropped in by OG at the same time. They have that sound barrier shielding to keep everybody nice and protected. Hydran's still going to be able to find one, but that's about it. They commit the overclock to the fight. They only get the Bastion. Reign, in the meantime, they reflip and they didn't even lose the lead.
And Florida Mayhem was so close to continuing that fight as well. Adam and RuPaul both looking towards the ultimates, but it's a Kitsuna Rush in combination with Speedly going towards the, the turret form. It's just so fast, does so much damage. Florida have to run away. Artillery out now, probably won't hit anybody. Not a very good ultimate, but Kitsuna Rush
down. Yeah, a little bit of damage there onto someone who hits the floor off the shatter, and Hawk claims him with a fire strike, cleans him up, and then is dealt with. Checkmate able to get on top of the Rhine, finds that elimination, but then is dealt with by Ultraviolet. A great headshot coming through. Kai with the overclock, finds Hydrant with one of his own, looks for Anamo, takes him lower and lower. Gets pushed over to the side, but even if he gets the kill or doesn't really matter because the fight is already won.
Someone being hit there, no fortify. RuPaul could save him in time with Suzu. Hawk now back on a Doomfist. And Atlanta Reigns facing there and disengaged was so beautifully played. They just go back in towards the white room. Florida Mayhem tried to push up. Kai gets really help behind Hawk's shield. Just cleans up the Florida Mayhem, who are looking for opportunities to ult here. Terra Surge, Death Blossom, both close range ultimates, but how do they close the gap?
Realize Hawk back on the Doomfist now after dying on the Rhine. One of the rejoin quickly. The fight was extended. Grabs them all together. Looking for the elimination. Speedily going to be taken down. And Checkmate actually doesn't pull the trigger on this Death Blossom yet. Continues to hold it. 95% established for the side of the Rain. Hawk going to be taken down, and that should be the window of opportunity for Florida to regain some semblance of control. A little bit of OT force out, but with OG dying, that will just go ahead and be the flip, but it's a long road now. Florida want to take this 2-0. And
it basically has to come down to Checkmate getting something done here. Maybe they have to get a spare off the side of the map for environmental kill, because otherwise we're seeing UV coming through the Kitsune Rush. OG about to drop that beat again. It's the same combo we saw all over Night Market. Kitsune Rush plus Sound Barrier at the same time. We're just waiting for UV to get it. Hawk back on a Winston. They can just play through normally.
Dive into the back line, Ultraviolet trying to go for it, but he gets pushed off the side of the map, speedily set off the side by someone, charges him in with the spear, finds the elimination. Hydrant with the overclock as well, gets knocked to boot, so the DPS, the damage dealers dealt with. That will be them maintaining control, just holding the bridge.
I mean, the player getting booped off, you can't really help there, but you know, the rest of the team being able to walk up with a Kitsune Rush, full green HP off the Sound Barrier, you're already at 99, that would have been the win condition for sure. Now Animo also has that through forward Kitsune Rush.
Rush does come out. Sound Barrier dropped by OG. Anamo now going to be using one of his own. Hawk already going to be taken down. They just melt through that Lucio shielding so very quickly.
Reset.
Two off the side of the map for a fast reset here. And yeah, they need to do it quickly. 18% left to go for the Florida Mayhem to be able to take this.
I mean, no resources though. No ultimates to work through. Kai needs this overclock very fast. Speedley's gone over towards the Tracer just a touch. You gotta have someone and Checkmate with ultimates. I mean, these are really good ultimates. But defending a point when it's last fight, Atlanta Reign have to come in touch. And the Terra Surge and the Death Blossom is already dead.
Yep, they take him down. The healing very much mitigated now. As Ultraviolet's the last one standing, but Checkmate with the Death Blossom will go ahead and clean him up as well as Hawk. Kai, he pops the overclock, but I don't think he's going to be able to do a damn thing. Finds one, is dealt with by someone with the ult, and that will just be the cleanup coming through. Rain to kick things off by showing us something a little bit different. Some cheese coming out, and it works a treat, but Florida Mayhem, they finally managed to stabilize. They play around it, and they take the first map of Lijiang 2-0.
And Killier, so what surprises me and maybe even confuses me is a couple of things. Why swap off the Rhine to go over towards Doom? I don't think that Hawk was that far behind. It wasn't like he was trailing the team in terms of tempo, like he wasn't going to make it back. I think he had plenty of time to work through. The Rhine was honestly work. If you're going to play this sort of Bastion, having that shield up, protecting your team, being this more stationary tank, allowing Kai and Speedley, your two DPS, to do the damage, I mean, that's fine. Coming back on the Doom, that strategy falls apart. Doom is not good in this meta at all. Doom is realistically one of the worst heroes. And then beyond that, we talk about the UV OG combo, something they displayed quite a lot in the night market round, and it worked a treat. It won them a lot of fights, right? Kitsune Rush and the Sound Barrier together, they were at 99%. If they double ulted and layered their support on us, I think they had a good chance to win. Sure, a play being booped off, you can't help, but the other four guys are still tanky, doing a lot of damage.
Well, a little bit of everything there in that first map, and I think if it's just a taster, if that's just our hors d'oeuvres for the rest of this series, then I, for one, am ready to feast. But Florida Mayhem, they do start things off up 1-0. Atlanta Reign are now going to have their map pick as we do look forward to going into Hybrid. We'll see where they decide to take us when we come back from the break, so don't go anywhere, guys. This battle between these two NA organizations continues in just a few. And welcome back, everybody. We are just one map into this series where right now the Florida Mayhem are leading 1-0.
What a performance so far. What a great showing. A 2-0 start on Lijiang Tower. Hydron, I was kind of trying to bring up some of the stats in the middle of the game, but it was going so quickly. The tempo of these teams have been so fast, but at the end of Lijiang now, I can confirm 18 final blows out of a total of 38 on the Mayhem. Nearly a deadlift on that map, nearly. And I want to bring attention towards another stat line here that's crazy to me. Charge shot accuracy, 73%. Now, with all the Sojourn nerfs that we have seen on previous patches, where the accuracy of the railgun had been nerfed subsequently, we've seen, you know, as high as like 80+% from Shy at one stage, you know, drop down, I think, to more of an average of 60. If you're a pro Sojourn player right now in the Overwatch League, to me, the expectation is if you can get a 60% charge shot accuracy, just any right click, body shot or headshot, you're doing a really damn good job. Anything above 60, anything even reaching towards 70, means you're in the upper echelon of all Sojourn plays in terms of accuracy. Hitting 73 and being above 70 and getting numbers close to like pre-nerf Sojourn is wild to me. Absolutely wild to me. And beyond that as well, Seth, the ult time to charge for Hydron, 136 to Kai's 215. That's a nearly 40-second gap of Hydron getting his ultimate, the overclock, 40 seconds on average, quicker than Kai.
That extra 40 seconds that he was spending in the death chamber waiting to respawn because he kept getting headshot by Hydron. But as you can see here, we do have some substitutions. We'll have Sir Majid stepping in, as well as Nero coming in for Speedily on the opposite side. So one sub apiece. Gator nowhere in sight. Seems like Hawk still going to be the play as we get ready to go into hybrid.
Well, now I think, you know, you bring Nero in. He's been a steadfast, I guess, Reaper play for the team, also having the May capability. As well as, you know, the Genji and some other stuff. Speedily, I think when you start thinking about some of these substitutions, we'll talk about Majid in a bit as well, because that one does confuse me slightly. I can sort of see the reasoning for why you would maybe have Speedily in over Nero and then swap that out as we head to King's Row. I think there was more of a chance that maybe you could see the Echo coming through on a control map. That's probably less likely to happen on King's Row here. I'm a little bit more confused by the Majid RuPaul pick. I think both are essentially just going to end up playing Kiriko here. I don't really see any sort of changes unless Majid is really coming into play something slightly different. Like, could it be an Ana? I don't know. I don't really see Florida deviating from their set strategy of where the meta is in terms of Winston comp. So this one is a bit of a one-to-one change for me on the Florida side. We'll see if it has any impact.
I mean, we'll have to just wait and see, because I certainly didn't anticipate to see a Reinhardt Bastion comp coming out of Gardens. So perhaps there is going to be some funny business here from the side of the Florida Mayhem, and they will steer away from what we're seeing as the playoff meta. So
from monkey business to silly business. We had a hog earlier from Goose Strait. What else are we going to see today?
Yeah, true. I mean, we're missing what? Sigma, Diva, Zarya for some
I think you will get Sigma. If somebody picks like what's a good Sigma map? Circuit Royale, Junkertown. I think those are two good Sigma maps. I think if that gets picked, I genuinely think a Sigma is on the cards. And Tracer, I have heard, is a potential for this meta as well. As crazy as it is, I did hear of teams experimenting with Doom, but like, it's still, to me, I just don't think Doom is a great hero. So it's like, it doesn't seem like a strong pick, even though Hawk is probably one of our best Doom players. It's like risky, and I'll be interested to see what Dante plays a little bit later on, but focusing on this match now, someone was hovering over the Orisa. Obviously, he locked that in to try and counter the Bastion plus Ryan combo earlier. Now, though, after Checkmate takes his opening shot, he has. You go back over towards the Reaper, and Florida play the standard, as do the Rain.
Alrighty, well, just swinging around the opposite side of the statue so far. Some shots coming down as Nero's going to have to make his exit. Wraithwolf does get popped. Himself out to safety, but a hell of a lot of damage being pushed out from both sides. Tiptoeing onto the point for now are the Florida Mayhem, but continuously into Rain are widely playing back behind Hotel. Now look to go on the threat. Push forward here, but Hawk going to be taking it low, and that's going to be an exchange on the Winston so far. Hydrant opening things up. Nero was looking to shut the door. First tick getting ready to be established, and they will be able to grab that one relatively for free. The Winston's getting ready to rejoin the fray.
Someone's about here. Someone's about here right now. Hawk has got a longer respawn. This is bad for Atlanta. They need their 5 alive. They're currently stuck at the moment. Their team is being split up as well. I think some members are in the hotel. Hawk has finally arrived.
Get themselves back in. They do stop the final cap from coming through. 93% just about built up here for the side of the Mayhem as Hydra tries to go around on a flank. Pushes through Hotel for just a brief little moment. Florida Mayhem decide to play with their time a little bit, but Hydran eventually finds him. The shot goes across. OG taken down once more. Someone will be felled, but Hawk is eliminated and dealt with just as swiftly. Now Nero and Kai will be cleaned up, and that will be the extended team kill as well as the cap on A. 5 minutes and 10 seconds here for Florida Mayhem.
And it's just the Florida Mayhem pressure on the actual point itself. Like I said, both of their Winstons going down at the same time, but the attacker side advantage here. Someone gets to rejoin the team a little bit early. Atlanta already have no space to work through. They're trying to keep touching the point. They're trying to keep this point alive. We head over towards the second tech in Atlanta Reign. They need this Kitsune rush. Ultraviolet was leading Majid here, but there wasn't enough time. He dies on 98. Hydron's the one that opens the account again. Brilliant shot into OG, and now he gets the shot on Kai.
Yet again, a major pickoff here found by Hydron, who is just going absolutely insane.
Mayhem disengage.
I said putting the team on his back, but it's not like anybody else is really performing poorly. It's just that he is going out of his mind with some of these shots. And he's going to drop down off the high ground, overclock rolling, go sliding forward aggressively, looking for a target, and everybody scatters to the wind. Very wisely, switch on the corner, gets the shot across onto Hawk, who's relatively safe. In that position, they just wait out the ult now, look to go ahead and try to displace him. They take him low, he instead slides forward, actually goes down 9 HP. They cannot keep him alive. Nero pops it at Blossom, manages to find just that one elimination, but given that it's Hydra, it just might be enough. The rest of the Florida Mayhem, however, are still plus forwarding. They're getting
checkmate.
Deep. Hawk trying to go ahead and track them down, finds Majid here with the Kiriko, manages to get the elimination. Checkmate dead as well. And with that cleanup coming through, the cart is going to be locked into position by the Atlanta Reign. Seems like they will finally get the Florida Mayhem displaced.
I gotta say though, Hydra, for all the good that he's done so far in this series, he was so far forward. You could actually see him sliding into the Atlanta Reign, trying to be healed by the rest of his team. Animo tries to drop that beat as well to save him. Unfortunately, not quick enough. But that could have been a very different fight for the Mayhem. You know, Nero actually comes in and shuts down both Checkmate and Hydra. Checkmate again, super slow and, you know, passive even on these death bosses. Never had the opportunity to use that. Has to find it now. But if Mayhem wait too long, UV has the Kitsune rush again. Florida Mayhem needs to win the point, need to get that cap off of Majid's ultimate.
Okay, well, full-blown ring around the rosy being played right now with the cart. It's Atlanta Reign just shift back, moving towards the attacking spawn. Someone pushes forward. If they can displace him, they can start stealing this cart away, which is why the Reign have to play forward. Kai, great shot, finds Hydron, opens things up. Now the Death Blossom comes through from Checkmate, but it is far too late. Damage already dealt. They lost out on an ammo. That gets absolutely no one as far as the kills are concerned. And that will be the cart once more locked in position.
I mean, Kai takes down the primary carrier of the Florida Mayhem. They also, I think Checkmate might have been displaced there by Boot, by OG or something, but did not get value at all on the Death Blossom. Kitsune Rush also just allows Atlanta Reign to disengage. I mean, they can both engage and get out of Death Blossom so easily with the extra speed boost from the ultimate, and that's all the Reign need. UV has been mostly outpacing Majid, and some of that comes down to the fact that Atlanta Reign have been more active in wanting to use these ultimates. Florida tried to disengage the initial Kitsune Rush from UV successfully in a previous fight. Now we see it's Mayhem's turn once again to drop that ultimate. UV though, sorry, not UV, OG on the other side with the sound barrier. I mean, they can probably just slide the side.
Again, shifting positions, overclock at the ready. Storm has his full charge rail that he'd like to send out first. Goes ahead, pops it, doesn't find anything for his trouble. Kills found on either side thus far, but Hawk, Nero all falling dangerously low. Tries to escape, but Hawk does get struck down to the end. Checkmate able to find that kill. Nero as well. Sliver of HP remaining for him, has the Death Blossom available, will get taken down. Kills finally coming through, but it's a good amount of time bought here from the side of the Atlanta Reign, but now the cap is going to be coming in. It's going to be just about 3 minutes in the time bank for Florida.
Yeah, Kai popped that overclock so late though. I think like once Atlanta Reign knew that the original couple of ultimates, you know, they popped Primal, they had the sound barrier, and they weren't quite willing to fight just yet. They needed to throw in a bit more resource, and they didn't. Kai waits until I think Hawk even goes down. Then he used the overclock, and Hydra shuts him down with his own rail. So now the Florida Mayhem, they get to walk away. They didn't even have to use ultimates for that, which is wild. Or rather than, you know, they had the original Kitsune versus sound barrier, and now they have 4 ultimates, right? They can just walk up.
Kai dead. Someone with the dive. Goes in with the primal, managing to find Kai. There's the opener from Checkmate. It is huge. They use both of their DPS ultimates, however, for this fight, but now they do get the cart rolling forward.
Like,
it's going to be rounding the final corner here now.
Maybe Hydron didn't need that, but it ends up being fairly worth it. They get the full cleanup versus the Reign. It's just Nero now with the Death Blossom. Animo's ready for that, hopefully. Sir Majid as well. With Kai dead, 5v4. If they clean up Nero, it's probably dead. It's probably gone.
He just got eviscerated. So much focus fire into him just to take down this opposing Sojourn. Pretty soon they're going to have to try to step forward onto this card here. Death Blossom is used by Nero. No kills found. Checkmate shuts him down. Hydrant ends up getting picked off, but OG and Hawk are both dead, and he just cannot get that touch in time there for Kai, and even if he had, it would have been just dealt with very swiftly thereafter. So maybe an extra 2 or 3 seconds bought, but instead it is going to be a finish here of 1 minute and 59 seconds for the Florida Mayhem on Kings Row.
So well played by the support duo of Florida Mayhem there as well. You see the Death Blossom from Nero. Majid responds with the Suzu, allows time for Animo to drop that sound barrier at no risk, at no cost. And they can just double support ult that one. Florida Mayhem have the firepower to finish it through, which is why I'm like, even with Hydra blowing the extra overclock, it seems like they'll have enough resources to finish the map, and they will be able to do so there. Like I said, 159, that's a pretty good time bank. If it wasn't for the Atlanta Reign kind of slowing down B as much as they did, Florida Mayhem might have had a better time there. The real big loss for Atlanta Reign there was that sort of final B defense where, you know, they had most of their ultimate shut down, and Florida Mayhem won that off the initial Kitsuna rush alone, which I don't even know if I want to say that's what won it for them, because again, that sort of gets soft countered by OG sound barriers. So it's a 1-for-1 support ult trade. It's after that that Florida Mayhem just slowly worked Reign in the neutral, didn't have to spend any ultimates, and got the snowball so hard on C using ultimates like this.
Yeah, just ran him down. Nero just didn't even see it coming. Helps clean him up.
And the worst part about that for Reign,
in the end, it doesn't end up costing them.
The worst part about that for the Reign is that they lose inside their own Kitsuna rush, and typically for that ultimate in this current meta, that's supposed to be a win. That's got to be a W for you. You use that rush, it's supposed to be a team fight win for you. So if you get shut down in that, and Death Blossom clears your whole team, that's a big loss. So Reign now have a lot of work to do, and you know, talk about potential cheese coming on through. It is the Hawk Orisa. I teased this at the very start. We are going to see it now properly. Let's see how this goes.
All right, pushing forward. They make their way very easily through the hotel. You can see just very spread out defense right now from the side of the Florida Mayhem. Just mean that they're that much difficult to try to attack, given that you do have this Reaper who wants to get up close and personal. And being able to do that is very tough, but Kai just gets the headshot, takes down Hydrant. Major opening here for the Reign now. Start to feel a bit more comfortable with this forward posturing onto the point. First ticket to be snatched up.
Mayhem can wait.
Now.
They can wait for the respawners, go for the 5-5 retake. They're getting assaulted on for now. The Majid potentially out of position. He's so far away from his team.
They shove him back to the hotel, actually. Ooh, spear out onto Checkmate, goes low. Heals come across. They do keep him alive for now. Both of these Kirikou neck and neck as far as getting those Kitsune rushes up. The person who's going to be able to pull the trigger on that one first could be the one that wins the fight here for either side. Hawk is tucking back, trying to stay safe, but Ultraviolet gets the headshot off the back of the spear. Checkmate now is going to be dealt with. There's the rush coming through. Majid matching on the opposite side. Now it's all going to come down to just trying to outplay, but Hydron again going to get headshot by Kai, and this should be the point cap coming through for the side of the Atlanta Reign. They get the lockdown, and very similar starting time bank for them, just a couple seconds shy as it's over 5 minutes.
I think Majid was maybe hoping that OG would respond with a sound barrier, but just doesn't get that of the opposition, so it ends up being a bit of a wasted Kitsuna rush coming through from Mayhem. It's a 4v5 situation, right? And you don't have the Reaper, which is one of the main beneficiaries of the Kitsuna rush. It's part of the reason why Reaper is in this meta right now. Speaking of which, I mean, Checkmate so far forward, he dies. He actually had the shift available. I was watching that cooldown specifically, and it was up. Someone jumps away, and at that point, you know, Checkmate, you're the front line now. You are now currently the tank, and you have to be very careful, cognizant of how much damage is going to come your way. He gets taken down, 120 damage headshot from UV, and that fight goes 5v4.
Pressure on a Kai. Comes through from Ultraviolet, keeps him topped up. He's looking to go aggressive, pushes up around the corner. And it might not be a full charge rail shot, but with so much down to about half HP. Very easy kill. He gets Hydrant as well, mid-slide. Casual stuff there from Kai. Somewhat leaving down a couple, managing to find 2 with that primal before he's eventually dealt with. They buy about a minute off the time bank, but the card is again rolling forward for Atlanta Reign. They have a lot of ults to work with.
I mean, you waste a bit of time there for the Reign. You get a couple of kills, which forces them to at least regroup a little bit here. But ultimately, I think that primal would have been better served to defend for the final fight of B. Had a couple of Mayhem ults now go a bit wayward. I mean, it depends on how much value you really place on stalling the payload for as long as it did. I think you would have still had that touch regardless.
Okay, overclock for overclock. Kai gonna be dealt with. That gets his canceled out early. Now, no damage. Dealers left in the fight. Atlanta Reign gonna have to try to hightail it out of here. Initial stagger is gonna be found as Hawk will be seemingly the last one to fall. Seems like, yeah, OG very well out of there. Okay, space bought. Florida Mayhem now have a decent position to be able to hold this cart for a while.
And this is a really sore spot for Hawk as well, because I think if he had used his ultimate, the Terror Surge, he'd be looking to swap over towards Winston now. He has to come back on this Orisa and look for an ultimate play, and that's going to be difficult in a bit more of a, I would say, retake, but they are the attacking team here. They're not trying to retake a position. Well, they are trying to retake a position from the attacking side. Checkmate on a bit of a flank. And you have another situation where Surma, and Anima can work together. Suzu into a sound barrier. Hawk on the low ground here. Hard position to be in. But Rain do have a lot of ultimates.
Spear spin down. There's going to be the rush out from Ultraviolet. Start things off. Nero drops in. Death Blossom rolling. Finds Checkmate, but then it's dealt with. Only one elimination found. Beat for beat on opposite sides, and Amino going to be stuck in the corner. Hawk just pins him. Spear is spinning. Chops him to pieces. Truly into the beat grinder for him. Spear not going to connect, but eventually they will be able to deal with someone. They take him down, and that will be the cap coming through. So 3:48 to chew through for the Florida Mayhem if they want to avoid these extra innings. Rajed will eventually get dropped. The Rain start pushing.
Despite all the support ultimates drop down, I think Nero still got a kill in the middle of that. Florida Mayhem. Someone unfortunately didn't have the primal. A few percentage points away. Checkmate could not answer with his own death blossom in that own on the orange side in that fight as well. So ability for someone to play aggressive now with that primal.
Oh my god. I mean, Hawk is just stopping the stop from coming through. Someone down low, forced out the primal rage. So his own back, seems like Rain widely are going to be okay to just wait out the remainder of this ultimate. Someone moves back around the corner. Hawk instantly there. We're trying to buy some positioning. Great move back as well. Denies that stomp, but Kai does get picked off. Checkmate finding that elimination. Overclock now rolling, looking for Ultraviolet. He's a little bit too elusive for Hydra to be able to line up the shot, but he eventually gets OG on the back end, and the fight is won by the Florida Mayhem all the same.
Atlanta Rain have about one good fight left to try and equalize his time bank. I think it's looking pretty unlikely. It's only halfway through on the C point so far. They do lack some ultimates to really push towards the end. So we're looking at definitely Florida having the better time bank when all is said and done. Kai coming through first for the overclock.
Oh, Checkmate is just looking to run it down straight in on top of the DPS. He gets in deep and eventually will find the kill. The final takes up that Death Blossom. Helps take the rest of the team dangerously low. Nero eventually dealt with, someone cleaning up the kill. And just like that, another fight victory for the side of the Mayhem. As Checkmate looks to finish off Hawk, they will be able to get him in the end for some late staggers, and we want to talk about an even later one. OG trying to make it out, but Checkmate gets him in the head at the very last second.
Yeah, that'll definitely hurt now. Checkmate setting up for some flanking angles as well. Love that play from Surma, by the way. Checkmate goes in super aggressively. Great read versus Kai. Wants to shut him down with the Death Blossom to deny the overclock. Majid just jumps in, uses Suzu. Now has the Katuna Rush available.
I mean, they're just diving in. OG has to use the sound barrier in response to this rush, and Florida Mayhem say that's good enough for us. They go ahead, they back away. Major support ultimate now going to be taken down. Anamo going to have a sound barrier of his own in response to Ultraviolence if they even have to use it. Okay, he's going to still commit the beat to the fight, but Ultraviolet was the first one to fall. Now Nero eliminated, and Hawk is desperately just trying to gallop his way back over into the spawn room, but once more, he's just not allowed. It's continued staggers found at every twist and turn. Florida Mayhem, they just disengage, then go diving forward towards the spawn doors over and over again.
And this kind of push-pull gameplay has kind of caught Atlanta Rain a bit of a loop. Majid and Anima both use ultimates there, not at the same time. We had the Katuna Rush first, then Mayhem pulled back, and then Animo goes back with the sound barrier and Checkmate the entire time, setting the pace, getting really aggressive now, and getting a lot of work done. It's up to UV. They have the Katuna Rush, but after they win this fight, they still don't have enough just to cap just yet. They're gonna have to burn this ult now.
Yeah, it has to feel like Groundhog Day here for the Atlanta Rangers. At every twist and
Florida
turn,
Mayhem lead.
set back in, dying. Oh, yep, they just go ahead, they disengage. Not looking to play around against this rush. They say, okay, it's fine. We can give up a little bit of spacing here. Kai, tagged down low. The healing starts coming out. He manages to escape. But again, the Atlanta Rain, they're pulling all the way back towards the spawn room doors. Hawk going to be taken down. Hydra able to snipe him here with that overclock. Now Nero dealt with it as well. And here we go again. Space bought, given to them by the Florida Mayhem, and then they just go ahead and snatch it right back into their hands.
They just outplay some of the ultimates and some of the plays from Atlanta Rain so well. They just straight up disengage out of the Katuna Rush from Ultraviolet. Atlanta Rain can do nothing really about that. They want to find some members of Florida Mayhem, they cannot, and then Mayhem re-engage the Primal. Now we're heading into final fight. Kai needs to win the fight off this.
Someone so dangerously low. A rush used by Somaja, just trying to keep everybody alive. Shot goes across, Hydrant gonna fall. That's an opening for the side of the Rain who need to push across in OT. And even then, it's just going to be playing out for a draw. Death Blossom dropped in, checkmate, uses one of his own, is protected by the bubble for a brief little moment there. Nero drops out of the Wraith Walk, finds someone, kills off the main tank, but so for the card, it still has not advanced forward. They have not gained distance. Hydra has swapped over onto the Widowmaker. He found OG with the first shot. Sound Barrier dropped in by Anamo, and they're looking to finish this right here, right now. They don't want to go to extra innings, but Nero looks to fight back. Finds one, checkmate, eliminated. Hydron plays around the corner, gets him in the head. OT gonna start plummeting here very rapidly. All the Mayhem need to do is displace it for a brief little moment. Ultraviolet dealt with OG down to a sliver, trying to self-heal himself back up, but the OT will bleed away before somebody else can touch, and the hold is successful. Florida Mayhem, they will win on Kings Row, and now move up 2-0 in the series.
Consider my thirst sated. Hydron is so good in the series so far. He comes out on a Widowmaker pick, by the way, just out of, I don't know if I want to call it desperation, but as a bit of a, one of those out of spawn, instant value type of picks. He got 75% towards his Infraside ultimate on that one life, just coming out of spawn. A couple of picks in there as well. Outstanding stuff in Florida Mayhem. Outside of just the individual mechanics, we're looking at their team play, their ability to have this kind of push-pull gameplay where they can disengage so well from the Rain when Rain want to go in, and then re-engage back into the Rain when Rain least expected, when they're not ready for it. Mayhem even running towards the Rain spawn on C, that's just so insane.
Just incredible displays right now from the side of the Florida Mayhem. And the Rain, they start off looking really good. They nearly matched the time bank on that initial cap. 5 minutes 6 to 5 minutes and 10 from the Florida Mayhem on their attack. It's looking neck and neck. They get a hell of a lot of distance over towards point B, but it was really that initial lockup after they got C, the constant resetting, the constant spawn dives coming through from the Florida Mayhem that shoot down that clock. Now they find themselves at match point here, looking to send the Rain down to the lower bracket. They need to fight their way out of here. They've got one more map pick to make it happen. We'll see if they can get it done when we come back from the break. we are back. A 2-0 lead at the moment here for the side of the Florida Mayhem. But first, let's talk about Clockwork Zenyatta. Because it's only on sale for a limited time, so you silly billies better get you off your booties and make sure you go ahead and lock that down before it is gone forever. You got it until November 15th, 300 league tokens and whatnot. You guys have been watching a hell lot of Overwatch. You should have more than enough to go ahead and pick that one up for yourself, because it's a pretty damn good-looking skin. I actually haven't seen this one before, and I like it, and I think I'm going to have to buy it after this.
Yeah, I mean, I copped it straight away. Gone forever until maybe 5 years' time when the Overwatch League Vault unlocks again, who knows? And by the way, speaking of, like, you know, stage skins and stuff like that, we got one more coming. The champions of the season get their own skin as well, but that one is still, you know, who knows? Who's gonna get it? That's what the playoffs are all about.
Dynasty.
As, you know.
Sorry.
Threw that one in there.
I had some hopium stuck in there.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's going on here as well. I kind of want to highlight some of the stuff happening on the support line, because I think Animo and Sumajid had a great map on Kings Row that we just saw. Sumajid in particular, his performance over both UV and his own teammate RuPaul has been staggering. It does still, like, drive a bit of question in my mind, like, okay, well, what was the sort of the point of substitution with RuPaul in for the Jung map? Sumajid comes in. Obviously a bit of a difference in the maps, you know. I think Kings Row generally probably goes a bit longer. It was a pretty quick 2-0 on Lee Jung, all things considered, so RuPaul didn't get as much time per se. But Majid comes in and deals like 3 times as much as damage as what RuPaul had on Lee Jung. Again, different map, but just want to point that out. But even in terms of how that's looking across the board with his healing as well, something that's really interesting about Kariko is people think of her as this really high damaging support, and she can certainly hit some shots, but she is still kind of like the main healer for the team, and usually will do the majority of the healing. And you'll probably be surprised, but Lucio players have a very similar amount of damage done, if not sometimes more damage done than even the Kariko players, because you need to farm up these Kitsuna rushes, and you do that very quickly off the back of just mainly healing. But the fact that Majid's being able to do a ton of damage on top of the healing is what is setting him apart.
Alrighty, well, Junkertown needs to be the staging ground for the Atlanta Reign as they look to pull off a reverse sweep. So far, we have had nothing but 3 zeros here in our first day of the playoffs. Can Atlanta be the difference makers, even just for one map? For God's sakes, just let me see somebody fight back. That is what I'm hoping for here, as we will jump into this one and see if they're able to get it done.
And I think the reason you'll get it is because this is a smart map choice for the Atlanta Reign. It allows Hawk to play the Sigma. If you want a positive tank matchup for the Reign, this is probably going to be the one. He's currently hovering over the Winston, but let's keep our eye out. I would be interested to see if that remains to be the case. There is still a position and a possibility for Sigma on Circuit Royale, and also this particular map with Junkertown to be a great pick. And right now, someone is clearly, I don't want to say he's the better Winston, but he's the far more practiced Winston. He has so much more time on this hero. And Hawk has been mainly an off-tank player who's played primarily, I think, Doom this season. So for the Atlanta Reign, if there's a time to pull through something a little bit different, this would be a great map to do so. We saw the Orisa on Kings Row that had some success, but eventually fell out of the capability of finishing that map. And as gates open for Kilios, I think for now, yeah, Hawk's going to stay on. We'll see what happens on the defense, though.
Keeping with it. Sky just looks to poke and prod around this high ground. Gets a good amount of damage in. Try to build up that rail shot. Trying to touch on across for just a brief little moment. The window of opportunity to maybe find a pick. Orbit wants to hold on to this right click. Sends it out. Someone getting tagged low. He's in too deep. Should be taken down, and he is. Hawk will find the kill. First blood there on the map. Florida Mayhem now are going to have to give up a considerable amount of space as they wait for their main tank to go ahead and rejoin them.
I mean, what a shot from Kai, though. The burst damage.
The one tank.
Yeah, well, still is a bit of a main. Yeah, well, if you're the one tank, you are also the main tank in this sort of situation as well. But Atlanta Reign using that 5v4 advantage to great success. Someone rejoins only now.
Trying to poke and prod around the back. Sees Kai on that flank, so he gets himself up over towards the card. To split some attention, but instead it's just dealt with. Nero able to get on top of him, finds that elimination. Kai still safe, still chunking down members as Checkmate goes down to a sliver of HP. Stays alive for now as we go ahead and just get out of the death room. And Namo will not be able to survive. OG whips him with the Cheerios in the face, finds the kills, and Nero is just continuing to push forward here, fearlessly trying to build up towards that first Death Blossom.
And it'll be the cap coming up through as well.
So now, just over 5 minutes.
And Atlanta don't have the ult for that at all. They didn't have to use anything for that. I think you'd be at a situation where Mayhem actually got a counter trade somewhere. UV would be forced to ult. He would be pressured to do so. But Atlanta Reign, after, you know, you still see Kai and Nero particularly getting those kills in there. Atlanta Reign just say, hold it, we're good. And a very, I think, straightforward cap, a little bit of resistance from Mayhem, but otherwise, with someone dying in the very early seconds of the game, having to play this 5v4, before Mayhem losing a bunch of space, yeah, they get someone back, but so hard for them to reclaim space on the map, and Reign are pushing the entire way through. They are the first ones to ultimates for the majority of ultimates.
He also finds himself in about a 20% deficit as well, underneath the Hawk towards that Primal Rage. So rely on the rest of the team to do some work here with their ultimates. Rush B Rush going to be coming through. OG does pop that sound barrier in response, and Checkmate just take it down now. Much of as well, falling someone down to about 5 HP up onto the high ground. He grabs a health pack somewhere and is going to try to go ahead and escape. They continue to pursue in. Hawk looking to zap him down. So he will be allowed to stay alive, but Atlanta Reign are just steamrolling their way through this map. Second point about to be snatched up.
Florida Mayhem have 4 ultimates, so they got to get this retake in quickly. It's got to be a bloody one. Both teams got to be ulting pretty big here. Someone's got a Primal. There it is.
Clock first. Yep, Primal does get popped.
I think Animo's peaked on
one of his own. Nero wrapping around the back. Death Blossom's going to be held, but Checkmate actually does find the elimination here onto Hawk. Doesn't commit his ult to this, so it seems like Atlanta Reign are more than happy to go for the reset here. Nero's going to try to escape and actually almost takes down someone. Does narrowly survive and offer up a good amount of ult charge here for his supports.
I think
that's some semblance of control is found.
This could be a potential mistake from the Reign as well, because they give up map control now. I think it's fine to disengage out of that situation, but disengaging and just kind of, I don't know if they want to say opting to lose there, but certainly they weren't keen to commit. Hawk doesn't Primal, right? Like, that was one of the key things. Now with Kai just sniping Animo, Reign could definitely go in. Probably still have to ult a little bit here, but maybe they can save some.
For now, they're still taking their time. Cart inching forward. Hawk jumping across the opposite way, drops down, knocks someone away, and into Nero's welcoming arms. They find that elimination. Checkmate just tries to buy a little bit of time as much as they possibly can, but it's moved to the side, pops the Death Blossom, and doesn't get a damn thing for it. 2 quick kills there for Kai as well with the overclock and all of the chaos. The cap comes in, and it's over 4 minutes for the side of the Atlanta Reign to get ready to push into the final stretch.
That's got to be one of the more depressing Death Blossoms you see out of Checkmate. Well, anyone really, it just, his entire team's already dead. I think there's like 2 people left, just him and one other. And then it's just him, and he gets booped away by Hawk, just batting with the big gorilla arms on the Winston Primal, and Checkmate goes for the Death Blossom anyway, it just does nothing. That's one ultimate that Mayhem will want back, but the Jet's going to have the early Katuna rush here. We'll need to use it to regain space. Pretty low HP though on someone.
This is it now. And Reign just don't play towards it.
If Hawk live here, I mean, UV can just counter ult and this is good for Reign. Yeah, I mean, similar to what we saw in King's Row with Mayhem disengaging, Reign kind of just get out of the Katuna rush and doesn't do a lot.
Nero pushing forward, Death Blossom dropped in, Checkmate immediately taken down, and Amo into the back. He'll stay safe for now. Good boop, does keep Hawk at an arm's distance, but he's got the zap. Starts at the right click, snipes him down. Another shot across on the Hydrant here. Now we can go ahead and continue to try to get this cart rolling. Goes into the back line, looks to contest, just zapping away, chipping down the HP bars here of Hydrant and Surmajan. He's got that overclock pop. Someone does dive in, managing to find 2 eliminations here for himself as it's a very bloody brawl back and forth here. Someone trying to stay alive, but eventually will be felt. Nero finding that elimination, but he himself as well is going to get dropped. And I guess at the end of it all, somehow the Florida Mayhem successfully do get the hold.
Well, Nero died at the start of the fight, right? You see Nero dying here again. That's because he just respawned, so he kind of dies twice in the same fight. And Florida Mayhem also get a lot of value on someone's Primal. Again, he's a very experienced Winston player. This is one of his top picks. He's been getting successes on that Primal. The Atlanta Reign now, Hawk's going to have to prove he can do the same thing with his own Primal coming up online. They get some good distance, I think for UV, it wasn't the worst Rico ult. Has reasonable value, but they definitely wanted more out of the kills afterwards.
DP up to the top. We're going to keep Hawk honest right now. Nero goes up to match. Amount taken. Primal Rage now going to be popped by Hawk. Sound barrier in response from an Amo. Everybody shielded up. Stuff comes on here onto the high ground. Checkmate does get knocked down low, but
Kai's got ult here.
Has that Death Blossom, which could be monstrous.
Kai needs to set the pace right now. Reign need to take control of this space. They currently don't have this high ground control either. Nero slowly pushing. Kai still holding. Legit is ult now.
But he's also gonna get taken down. He uses it. Checkmate's gonna be good for one, but then the overclock comes in from Kai, finds the kill, catches Hydra, trying to push up onto that left side flank. Spikes him down to size. They're going to be eliminated. Kai under fire. 65 HP remaining for him, and there's not much else that he can do. Someone kind of botches the jump forward, so he's not going to be able to get the punish here for the added stagger. Kai would anyway lift his way out to safety, but they still managed to hold this, and it's going to be Hawk who's actually traded on the back end.
That's probably even better there as well, because it's a later kill than where Kai would have been.
Yeah.
Someone gets two regardless. I think even with the Kai getting away, even if they don't kill Hawk, someone killing two there. Once again, this time without a primal, by the way. It's so huge for the team. Majed dies popping down the Katsuna rush, but the team still gets to use it. Despite Checkmate and Hydra getting shut down, that was a reasonable ultimate from Kai. He got a lot of work done, but they couldn't convert that further. They couldn't clean up the rest of the members, and someone has been a huge problem. And now he's got the primal again.
Keep off the high ground. Death Blossom held. Gonna rush out from Ultraviolet. Some kills, someone staying alive.
Nero has no targets.
Fire despite the primal HP there, and yeah, I mean Nero's desperately trying to find somebody, but everybody's flying quite far away. He decides to go in, pops the ultimate. Checkmate. Wraith walking away, but 2 kills are going to be found. Traded back as Kai does get dropped. The cart just 2.5 meters left to go now as Checkmate tries to keep this one contested. The dive comes back in. Somebody just pumping heals forward into this Reaper, trying to keep him alive. Use the cleanse as well. Hawk going to be taken down. They find the eliminations down the sound barrier, going to be dropped in desperation from the side of OG. He gets the right click kill. Checkmate now going to be taken out. Florida Mayhem, someone swaps over on Zarya, tries to get back in here.
But just gonna vault.
Nearly the ult online, but they just barely get pushed off of the cart. The C9 calls come through from the side of the rain. And that was looking damn holdable
4 seconds
for the Florida Mayhem.
They had ultimate. Majed comes back. He's got a Katsuna rush. He was at 99%.
They nearly had a barrier too.
Yeah, Animo had the ult as well. That was so holdable. I think Mayhem will be left wanting. Majed says awesome.
Awesome.
It's one way to look at it. Yeah, well, it's, to be fair, the silver lining there for Mayhem is still like, what was the time bank for Rain after capping B? About 4 minutes, right? 4 minutes plus. So Mayhem still bring that one right down to 4.2, which is okay, but they would have loved to have held that instead because it was well within their grasp, but it slips through their fingers instead. Someone's still getting a number of frags there. Checkmate and Majed staying alive for so long, by the way. 2 invulnerabilities there. Checkmate's got the Wraith form. Majed drops down the Suzu. And then a Reaper just does not die. So now, once again, as we head to the defense of the Rain, we look at the comps. Hawk is not going to go for the Sigma. So maybe Circuit Royale will be the pick. Junkertown certainly isn't. Let's take a look at the C9 here again. So here comes all the members coming through. Pay attention, Animo, Majed have a lot of ultimates, and then Nero pushes in. Someone tries to go onto the payload. Animo's off. There just wasn't anyone there. No one even got booped off. There just wasn't anyone there. Maybe Florida felt like someone was closer than he was, but he just wasn't. He was on a Zarya, not a Winston. He couldn't jump on.
Well, this is a bit of a different look here as we have a very forward hold from the side of the Atlanta Rain. Granted, they have a lot of people who can disconnect from this position with relative ease. Well, with the jump, the TP, the slide. They're going to be looking to play around the backside of the shed for now. Checking around the flank, trying to make sure that Nero isn't going to be coming in from behind. Kai does get a big punish onto an Alma, but Hawk gets taken down as well. So yeah,
a better trade for Mayhem. Much better trade for Mayhem. Even though Nero getting the kill, Majed trading Ultraviolet. That's going to help Majed get the ultimate later on. Very back and forth, but you have to remember Mayhem have the closest spawns here. Rain have a big long run back. So these remaining players have to leave before they get staggered. If they get staggered here, that becomes much worse for the Rain. So pretty iffy initial hold.
In the choke though.
I think if Hawk doesn't die, that would be an acceptable hold. But with Hawk just getting rolled by Checkmate, who just runs up to him, a few shotgun blasts to the face. Now Rain are forced to hold the same position. I think the silver lining here for the Rain is that at least they still get this choke point.
Yeah, for sure. Our pressure into the back. Kai goes sliding to the side. Keeps himself elusive for now to build up that next rail. Break down the bubbles. Hawk makes his exit. Low HP there for the Winston. Good top back up.
Hoshi one.
Lead gonna be found there. Yeah, he goes low. Narrowly manages to survive it right now. The HP bars from the side of the Rain. Not looking all too great. Kai getting jumped on yet again. This time Checkmate will be able to do him in. Finds that kill. Hawk gonna be under fire. Ends up falling. And it's gonna be a fairly quick cap here for the side of the Florida Mayhem as they just clean up the few remaining members of the Rain.
I think the thing there as well is, like, you know, I mentioned that Rain at least still had the choke point to play with, that sort of kill box before we get to the open area. But the other issue is Mayhem already have sort of some high ground to play through there as well. They're first to that area, and Rain are kind of trying to find some positioning. one kind of cool thing we do see there with Rain losing, despite the losing, is the fact that UV keeps up with Majid despite UV dying. UV actually had a death, Majid did not, and both Rico are still finding ult at the same time, so Ultraviolet's been doing a lot to get these very fast ultimates. Florida Mayhem currently sit on 4, nearly 5. Rain drop down.
Okay, rushes popped on either side. The overclock there for Hydra. Violet going to be the first one to get taken down.
Anima holding.
Out of the corner on him. Kai now getting jumped on. Grabs that Mega Pack and tries to stay alive for a little bit longer, but someone's got the juggle on him and he manages to take him down to the end. Will finds one for his trouble, but it will get cleaned up here in the end as someone narrowly survives. Additional stagger found as OG will get dropped, and Florida Mayhem can get this cart rolling.
Risky but very patient, rewarding timing there for Animo. He held onto the sound barrier for quite a long time. UV and OG dropped fairly consistently together. Majid responds. Well, Majid actually had his own Kuriko Katsuna rush, but it's Animo with a slightly later beat that allows Florida Mayhem to get super aggressive with someone with a fantastic corner trap on the Kai. Removing Kai from the equation is a huge deal. Now setting up for the potential of a Death Blossom. Checkmate has been found. Rain are aware of the positioning. You see Majid getting ready to TP in as well.
No aggressive. Blossom held. Overclock pop by Kai off screen. Spots him here in the hallway, but everybody disengages back. Break line of sight, making sure that they don't get their heads clicked on here. As Hawk just looks to hold the top of the stairs. Florida Mayhem now very much contained into the back spots here of this map. They need to be able to break free, and Hawk is going to be looking to dive in.
Hydron
here onto somebody, but now that's going to be Hydron getting the headshot. Nero taken down. Kai is well low on HP. Continues to get chipped away, and there's the Death Blossom. Dropped in by Checkmate. Finds 2. Ultraviolet joining him in the grave. The cleanup comes through, and it's again a 4+ minute time bank here as the Florida Mayhem look at the storm their way to the end of the map.
And Rain have to have a great C-hole just like Mayhem did. What a way to sort of out-rotate Hawk, though. You see Hawk forced to primal in. Hawk tries to find some quarter traps, tries to find some members inside the small halls. For the Florida Mayhem, they just walk out, they go back over towards the point. Hydron finds a shot to Nero, and then Checkmate gets the Death Blossom on the actual point itself. Lands a Rain, no answer for it. Hawk super low HP, Nero as well. They can't even take space. Mayhem have the turntable on the top high ground. They have the payload pushing. Someone's about to find ultimate. Magetta's the first Katsuna rush. Mayhem are in position to get a lot of value here. They can just free push, and they don't have to ult unless Rain respond.
Nade finding some good value, slows them up, trying to push around the front side, get some damage through as well.
How does he get that?
Taking down someone. Yeah, back of it. Gets that kill. Major opening here as Hawk drops down. He's trying to keep this thing contested, but someone, I mean, he's got that ult in his back pocket. He's ready to pop it at a given moment. Rush going to be used on either side. Hydra does get taken down. Hawk able to find that kill first and foremost. Sound barrier now going to be coming in late second here from Anamo, but he continues to get worked lower and lower, and Nero will find the elimination in the end. So despite the sound barrier investment, they just have no way of fighting back. They all get taken down to the rain, now have control of the cart.
There's a big investment from the Florida Mayhem, and someone realizes it's over, doesn't burn the primal. Good choice to make. Really, it was a kill to Hydra, right? We talk about the fact that someone jumps in, we're like, man, how has he just managed to find a pick? Hawk kind of does the same thing, drops on top of Hydron, and that is the key pick, I think, in that fight that allows Rain to win, because otherwise, Hydron's damage might have made that difference.
Now, 2.5 minutes remaining. Florida Mayhem still in a position to have a very superior time bank if they can get to the end. We saw how much time they were able to chew up against the Rain attack. Rain can do
Hawk
the same, and it's going to be pretty damn even. But yeah, Hawk going to be taken down, doesn't get to use the primal rage, and that's going to have to be the go button. Jump into the back, someone not going to be able to get the stomp damage coming through. Turns his sights over to OG for a brief little moment. Now looks towards Ultraviolet, who can just TP out of this position. Someone now pops the primal rage, knocks him back away. Looks for some eliminations, and Checkmate with the Death Blossom will find 3. Cleans up both the supports, gets Kai to boot, and Hawk just doesn't stand a chance. Just under 2 minutes now, going to be bumped up to just under 3 as they complete the map.
And that pick onto Hawk is so huge as well. I think he was on about 200. He was less than half HP, but still had ample opportunity, I feel, to maybe have gone for that primal, but he gets taken down very quickly from below half. Doesn't respect the damage up from the Florida Mayhem. And because he goes down, Lanta down to 4 members, they can't hold on. Someone gets super aggressive. He was cleaving 3 members towards the Rain base, the spawn, for quite some time. Instantly goes primal, pops somebody down with the primal, just instantly deletes somebody. Hawk eventually comes out for the primal, but it's too late. I think you already lost that fight. Checkmate has the Death Blossom on the point. They're already camping. You want to touch, you're going to run into Death Blossom. Perfect opportunity for the Florida Mayhem. And off the back of one fantastic kill onto Hawk, they're going to get a brilliant time back. 2:53 versus 1 minute.
Major advantage, but we have seen teams push out from, you know, these positions many times in the past. You can see it's just in front of the spawn doors, just checkmate.
Didn't even have to sit on the payload. Just ran up to the spawn and press Q. That works.
Yep. No zoning ultimates here. This is fully for the aggression. You had an early death last time. Let's see if you can avoid that. It's only a minute that they have to work through, but dying this close up would be pretty devastating. Sends out a couple zaps, and we'll just go ahead and leap up over onto the opposite high ground.
I think he definitely knows that his death was probably the impetus of Atlanta Reign's initial 8-point cap, so has to be careful this time, as you sort of mentioned. But Majed able to farm up a decent amount of ult charge off of the damage done to someone so far. Also can't afford, Real Mayhem, you can't afford for Kai just to land any shots, so that first rail will go a little bit of right.
30 seconds remaining.
Alright, here's the contest under the initial bridge. Just to keep this one locked in place. All members of the Florida Mayhem playing here onto the low ground. Looks like Hydra might be going to rotate back around, but no, he's actually just playing right there inside of the choke. Going to get whatever
getting really far ahead
he possibly can. And I'm taking low, someone nearly dead, and pumping heals out as quickly as they possibly can, but he still will fall. It's going to be the cost of Hydra as he and Kai find a kill apiece.
It's got to come down to Majid's ultimate.
Overtime, and
I think they're going to reset.
Escape.
I think they're going to reset. They need someone back, and Armo probably back as well. But look at the 86% from Majid. Even if the payload gets to the end of A and there will be enough time for the Mayhem to come back in, they pop the Kitsuna Rush, and that is a major win condition. OG does also have a sound barrier coming online, though. So it'll be that connection between those two ultimates, one per side.
Okay, they wait out the grenade just for a little bit longer. Someone now jumping forward, keeps it contested. There's the rush. Jet popping that. Trying to keep them in this. The sound
Anamo next.
from OG. Ultraviolet nearly with that next one. Now Anamo going to be using the shielding as well. The push away there on De Niro. They managed to tag back in for a brief little moment, but De Niro gives his life for it. OG now going to be taken down. The cleanup is coming through. Hawk will find one, but as he leaps away from the cart, that will be the end of this assault. Atlanta Reign can't quite make it to point A.
Yep.
Hold that position at 2 minutes and 53 seconds if they want to be able to take this map.
Bit of exchange in the chat there. Majed says not going to say it. I think he's talking about the C9. Guy says do it. What I want to mention there is as well is
it
that
really wasn't.
I think, and absolutely wasn't. But nowadays, I think players just throw it in there at all times. I'm going to talk about the fact that there was that one fadeaway kill that got into Ultraviolet on, I think, the first fight as well. And I sort of mentioned Majid was ahead by about 20% on the Kitsuna Rush. That ends up being a defining factor because Ultraviolet, Atlanta Reign, and that 8-point push on about 98, 99 towards the Kitsuna Rush. So that one death on Ultraviolet, slowing them down from finding the Kitsuna Rush, when previously, I mean, it's sort of mentioned, but even not just this map, but the other maps as well. Ultraviolet's timing for the Kitsuna Rush has been really good, whether he's alive or dead, but here, because he doesn't get that extra time to find the damage and couldn't respond, so you have both support ultimates from Mayhem. OG had the sound barrier, which is great. That's that shot into Ultraviolet, by the way. Getting him down, that basically will slow him down from being able to respond with his own Kitsuna Rush, and that could have been the difference maker. I think that would have actually been the difference maker.
Here we go again with a forward hold up on top, and they need this to be an absolute bunker for the Reign if they want to be able to hold this off and take us.
Oh my god!
Fourth map.
Come on, guys.
He does it again. He just starts off with the Widowmaker, and they just do not see it coming at all. OG instantly taken down, and the rest of the Reign have to displace. They have to scatter as quickly as humanly possible, but getting out of this position now is going to prove to be difficult, if not impossible. Dude, the cleanup comes through and put a fork in it. This is looking very well done.
I mean, there will still be contested. There will still be another opportunity for the Atlanta Reign. And to be fair, that's not nearly as bad as the, Violet Bap jumping on King's Road, Kai sniping him in, playoffs of years past. Ironically, it's the Reign now popping the end of that sniper rifle. And Hawk's back on a Doomfist. Oh, this is going to be really rough. I think he would have had time to come back to Winston, but he trusts his Doomfist here. They don't have much to work through. This has to be a very good neutral for the Reign.
Needs to go absolutely nuclear here, but he's instantly chunked down to half HP, dives in, decent seismic slam off. The heals come forward, just trying to keep him alive as much as they possibly can. Fists go up, trying to mitigate. Someone down to half, Hydrant dead. Kai finds the opening kill. That's the first step. someone as well getting focus fired, stunned up, pushed into the side. The water tank gets taken down. It seems like for now, Hawk is absolutely destroying with the Doom. It's up with a couple kills, and they will be able to hold this cart position, but it's just 2.6 meters away with a minute and 25 left to go.
We definitely survived. I think Mayhem also played that one very safe as well. They didn't really want to get engaged directly on top of Mayhem. Sorry, Rain rather. And they couldn't sort of force these ultimates to come through as well. It looked like they wanted to play patiently for the ultimates because they knew they were ahead, but because they lose that fight, Rain catch up, and Hawk in particular gets himself an ultimate in that one fight.
Okay, Rush v Rush, the beat still held by Anamo. He's gonna go ahead and drop that one in. OG 10% away from having one of his own, but Kai and Nero instantly get taken down. Hydron up onto the high ground, manages to snipe out one, and that is it. They zone Hawk back, the push comes through. The Florida Mayhem will be able to make it happen here in the extra innings, and we do not have a series on our hands. It is yet another instance of 3 Overwatch, as the Florida Mayhem will keep themselves here in the upper bracket. Atlanta Reign now gonna have to duke it out. Down and dirty in the lowers. And
it's the Florida Mayhem in the 10th seed, a play-ins team that takes down the Atlanta Reign coming in at the 7th seed as well. And if you're really 900 AQ, if you're really big brain, you're probably thinking, well, I guess Atlanta Reign, lower bracket, right, that makes a lot of sense. This is where they're strong. Maybe they just lost on purpose. Achilles got to get sent down the lower bracket early so they can just make the powerful run through. It's like the 2021 playoffs all over again. They got to the finals from being dropped to the lower bracket last year. Maybe they could do it again, but I still got to say, I think this is an upset. From all we gather from the Florida Mayhem, look, they're a good team. They're a great team, but they were underprepared coming into playoffs, given they had to play the play-ins patch instead. Very limited scrims, as said, from their team. And they come through and they 3-0 the Atlanta Reign. Hydron has a fantastic game. Someone is all amazing on that Winston. On the Atlanta Reign, they tried some different stuff. We saw some Orisa coming through from Hawk. We saw the Bastion as well. We saw the Ryan at one stage. But they end up not winning any of that. They don't take any rounds on Lee Jung. A couple of potential mistakes there from my POV, I think on Guarded specifically. And then the other maps, I mean, close affairs. Like, you got to say for Junkertown at least, we get to a time bank, but even when you look at the difference in the time bank, it's about 3 minutes to the 1 minute. The Florida Mayhem have just so much more extra they can work through. They're allowed to lose more fights on that 8-point time bank, and they do, but they could come back in, have another shot, and that shot gets the victory.
Well, I said it before, there was one man who really kind of put the team on his back, especially in those first 2 maps. Even though the rest of the team was playing absolutely incredibly, he just went above and beyond. That is our player of the match, Hydron, who just had an absolute whale of a time playing the Sojourn the whole way throughout.
And 10,000 damage per 10 over the course of the 3 maps. And I think on specifically
10 final blows per 10.
King's Row, he had 13,000 damage per 10. So that particular map was so damn good. We talked about Lee Jung already, had the 73% charge shot accuracy on that one. 10 final blows per 10, by the way, is a really good benchmark for a player. That means, obviously, that you had a lot to work through. And that stat line specifically as well, I mean, last year, we looked over the course of the entire season, only one player averaged 10 out of 10 final blows per 10. That was Leave. He was the MVP. That's obviously over the course of the entire season, though, but really sets the stage as a bit of a standard that if you can get that in a single map, then you're kind of hitting that level. That's the level you want to be at as a DPS player. But I think we saw the impact there. You even saw it on the Widowmaker, by the way, as well. C-point defense, Junkertown Widowmaker. You also saw it in the A-point attack. Instant headshot into OG. Atlanta Reign didn't respect the possibility of a Widowmaker. They got punished for that. But how much impact? I mean, look the first bloods. I think multiple times on King's Row we saw first blood coming up through.
Yeah, at every twist and turn, I mean, there was times where it seemed like Atlanta Reign had great positioning, it seemed like they had things under control, and then all of a sudden, Hydron just came down off the top rope out of nowhere, just dropped in with an overclock, dropped in with a rail shot, and was able to start really turning the tides of these fights. Kai just didn't quite get heated up into the Kai that we know he can be on that Sojourn play. It was a little bit rougher around the edges for him and for the rest of the Atlanta Reign. So very well done here from the side of the Florida Mayhem. But Reign will have to keep an eye on them. Like you said, maybe this is that intentional loss for them to be able to have that strong lower bracket run as they often do. But a lot of questions. How are they going to look moving forward into their future series? Are they going to continue to run Hawk here in every single situation, or will we see Gator? Because we had that question at the beginning of this match, and at the end of it all, he was, Gator was not found today, or NFT for short, whichever one you want to use, but we'll have to see if they're going to be bringing him out in the future.
Yeah, I'll look forward to it. Great job by the Florida Mayhem. A second upset of the day.
That it is, and yet again, another 3-0. But we have one more match to try to stop that from happening. Maybe we can actually have a series. Maybe we can see some back and forth brawling. We'll have to just wait and see what happens as we get ready to go into that fourth and final one of the evening. But we're going to go to a quick little break, and then the desk will break down this third match for you when we return, so don't go anywhere.
Go. Do my punch, careful. Lucio.
졸라서 막.
아,
리퍼 키리
돈. Just like that.
야미타.
하이드론 피었지.
하이들 my bad. Sorry.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Butterfinger. Crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery. No one lays a finger on your Butterfinger.
Welcome to our game break, one and all. Joining us now for a quick word after their match is Surma Jet from Florida Mayhem. First of all, of course, congratulations to you and your team. A convincing 3-0 victory for the Mayhem in their very first match. Now, please fill us in and tell us, how did you get it done? What gave your team the edge today?
Thank you. I mean, I don't know, we're just like really good in this meta and we just pulled it out.
Just really good, man.
Pull it out. Okay,
just really good.
Well, I want to know, like, were you expecting Atlanta to throw some of these strange picks at you? Obviously, they came out and played a Reinhardt Bastion on one of the rounds. How did you deal with that?
I mean, I didn't play that map, but like our team just like adapted, I guess.
Right? So some clean adaptation.
Yeah, we're just good adapt for the team.
All right. So asking more about Kiriko then, because you did play some Kiriko in this series.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, we should ask a couple of questions about this hero in general now. You're known for being a bit of an aggressive player. So first off, I just want to ask, does your team ever tell you to like heal more?
No, like they just let me play the game and do my stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it. I just hit my shots and go away.
All right.
Well, how comfortable are you feeling on the hero? Obviously, very limited practice heading into this tournament. How do you personally feel it? Do you think you're quite good at it?
I mean, I played like ranked like 20 hours in the hero and I've been grinding a lot. Well, I like the team playing in play-ins, so and the hero like really fits my play style since like I play aggressive.
Yeah, and it shows. And it worked out for you and your team, so we're going to let you get back to celebrate and prepare for your matches tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck in your next match.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now let's break the action down. He didn't even break a sweat. He seems so casual.
I was like, I played 20 hours of rank.
Just
Showed up.
grinded for 20 hours, you know. Great for them. I mean, that bodes well for the rest of the playoffs.
Great.
The other team's hard grinding, going into so much strategy and so much. I was like, yeah, I just played her a little bit. She's pretty good.
You know, one morning I just woke up and then I was a really good Kiriko
Then I chose violence, and here we are.
Violence, exactly. That's how it goes. Let's discuss this match, though. Actually, let's start with something you just mentioned in the interview. Atlanta did throw a few more questionable picks maybe at them. Were they just like desperation picks, or was there, you think, strategy involved?
Well, we posed this question heading into this match of what are the Atlanta Reign going to play, because they've been wanting to lean on Hawk, but Gator is that Winston player for them. So we get the answer that they are going to play Hawk on that Winston, but at certain times he's trying to do something a little different to throw the opposition off guard. You know, they played that Reinhardt Bastion, we even saw a little bit of Doomfist, a little bit of Orisa from Hawk as well, but someone just really had his number in terms of quickly adapting to deal with that. Hawk had some good moments. I don't think it was a big just main tank difference in this matchup, but Florida Mayhem looking very comfortable in this meta with, once again, Hydron stepping up to an even higher level.
Oh yeah, I mean, Hydron was absolutely popping off in this series as well. We did hype up the Kai versus Hydron matchup as the matchup to look out for in this series in particular, because we respect the Atlanta Reign. When it comes to their damage players, we saw Speedly in the mix, of course, and Nero here on the Reaper as well, but also the backline, Ultraviolet and OG, that's one of the best backlines in the game. But the big question mark was the tank player, Hawk, now playing Winston, formerly known as a diva player, Doomfist, stuff like that, right? How are they going to adapt? But Hydron, he stepped up when it came to the damage roll as well, giving Florida Mayhem an additional win condition that they so desperately need when they face top teams like the Atlanta Reign, for example. Someone on the Winston, I thought he was spectacular. This is what he's really known for. This is his best hero. He's had a breakout rookie season for the Florida Mayhem. And if you take a look at the stats in this matchup, 8.1 final blows per 10 minutes as a Winston. Like, are you kidding me? 8.1. 4.6 primal rage kills per 10 minutes as well. You know, a bit of a Gushui blade kind of primal blade thing going on.
You're just going to keep saying that, aren't you?
It's just the energy of this place, you know, like
the energy. Anaheim is just channeling primal blades. Yeah, I love it. But this could really be the tournament where we go that someone is just like, you know, an average, above average kind of tank player to like actually like a great, fantastic tank player, being able to contest with some of the best tank players around the league. Maybe not Smurf and Fearless and Hanbin level,
you're
but
a doubter.
Doubter, maybe I'm a doubter. I'm just saying, someone on his best hero on Winston here in this tournament, he could really make a name for himself, so I'm keeping my eyes on the Florida Mayhem and someone to really elevate their play and make a name for themselves throughout this week.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more from that team. Now, if we're looking at the Atlanta Reign, though, moving forward, do you guys feel like leaving Hawk in as picking up that Winston role is the right move to do? Because, yeah, it allows them more flexibility if they want to switch to other tanks, but does that make sense in what we suspect to be the meta, or would you rather have Gator, who is a very a very good Winston.
In my opinion, it's too late to switch to Gator. If they've already made that decision to play Hawk, that means that they've played a lot of their scrims with him being in the lineup. Maybe they just move away from Hawk trying to play a lot of different wacky things like Speedily on that Bastion, him on that Reinhardt, and just stick to the Winston. It's not that bad. It is definitely not going to be their winning factor, but if he can just at least go even with some of these other guys, it could be a good thing. And at the end of the day, let's remember, it's the Atlanta Reign. You know, Atlanta Reign loves to go on these long runs through the lower bracket. They've done it this season. They did it last season through the lower bracket to make it to the grand final. So, you know, never count them out.
Absolutely, and we certainly hope to see that happening. Or I certainly hope. I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm still an Atlanta fan, even though I didn't predict them for this one. You did, however, so you were wrong.
Well,
congratulations.
We're playing 3-0 Overwatch, and I am currently 0-3 on the desk, so I'm sticking with theme.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, I love the commitment. Commit to the bits. That's what Costa is known for. I do want to preview our last match of the day. Houston Outlaws will face off against the Toronto Defiant. And first, I want to take a look at who needs to level it up, and leveling up presented by Butterfinger. Who you got your eyes on?
I have to look at Dante because once again, this man is going to have to level up for the Houston Outlaws, because if they are going to rely on him to be their tank player, which, you know, he has been a staple in the same way that Hawk is, he's going to have to learn another hero. So Dante, you've been collecting the Infinity Gauntlet of tank heroes. We saw him earlier on in the season picking up the new Doomfist, playing very well, and we're like, oh, you know, he was a DPS player. Of course he knows how to play Doomfist. But then we had Junker Queen come out. He played incredibly on that Junker Queen as well for them in the Summer Showdown. He played some Zarya in the Countdown Cup as well. Like, just look at these stack cards. He's very good at what he does, but this is a completely different beast in the Winston. Johnny, you are a tank player. You've played a lot of Winston. Do you genuinely think Dante could come into this lineup in the playoffs, play the Winston, and play it at the level he needs to play?
There's nothing Dante can't do. We've seen Taimu on this hero. We've seen Rijay Hong play Winston. Why can't Dante come out and play Winston? Like, he could literally play Winston. Is it going to be world-beating? I don't know about that. But I'm just saying, if Dante comes out and play Winston, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, I hear that there's some faith.
I dodged that question heavily.
That was skirted around that very professionally.
That was the most awkward skirting around the question ever. Yeah.
I don't know. I somehow felt like there was a tiny little spark of faith in a Dante Winston.
Yeah, the tiny sparkle. Look, he played Diva the other day and looked great. People were clowning on him for his Diva during Goat's Meta, and Dante, he looked good in the Sombra. So if he come out to Winston, you know, do a little bit of leaping, napping, raging, punching, you know, zapping. You know what I'm talking about.
Very easy to play. It's like everyone can play Winston.
Yeah, come on, just do the jump thing. I'll say this.
What do the numbers say though?
The numbers?
Yeah, what do the numbers say map-wise?
Map-wise,
hear all about it.
My papers here.
What you got for us?
This is a fun fact for you.
And
I didn't know this going into this
that.
Houston Outlaws is the best team we have in the league on control maps.
Really?
Yeah, 70% win rate on control maps. That is the Houston Outlaws for you.
And
so
you guys know why that is funny? Because they used to be that used to be their kryptonite.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how many of those are in map 5, but
no, last season didn't they lose every single control map? Wasn't there some? There was a weird stat like that. Was that last season or the season before?
That's probably shock you're thinking. They're always like, oh, we lose on control, but then you're like, well,
no,
shock,
I'm
you have a
almost certain
positive
that was
winner.
Houston.
Okay,
someone help me out.
Zoe is changing history. That's already happened.
No, I'm like almost certain. Oh man, why did I say that?
Yeah, but
wasn't it control?
I can't back you up, Zoe. All I can say is Houston Outlaws today in this series that's about to happen
I'm
in the
sure
future.
there are some stats which will back
you
up
need
what
to
I'm
do
saying.
well on control, okay? If you
Okay.
can get to map 5, statistically you're good on control, all right? So in many ways, you know, in our Butterfinger segment, I could say that it's their bread and butter.
Ew.
So you make it
Get
to
us out of here.
map 5.
Anyway, let's take a look at our preds to get out of that one. Danny picking Toronto, that's great.
It's on brand, honestly.
Yeah, that is on brand.
It's Johnny. Okay, you defend this Toronto Defiant pick because they should be more comfortable in this meta with Muse coming back into the line.
Look, I've just abandoned all like prior like results. Like if you're a great team in like 2020, I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, I really don't care. Are you good today? This week? Well, Toronto Defiant, they have Muse. I'd argue that he's almost like a top 5, top 6 Winston when it comes to the lineup we have here in this week. So yeah, I think Muse is going to do fantastic for this team. I'm looking forward to see Toronto be a bit more comfortable in a Winston dive meta. He's